So I performed this at the Magic Castle. I performed it for David Copperfield and Chris Kenner, for David Blaine and his girlfriend, and Patrick Stewart and his wife as well. That was a highlight. I was performing it for David Blaine and his girlfriend, and then he said, "Oh, you've got to do that again." So he drew a crowd around me in the castle, one of which was Patrick Stewart. You got to watch this guy from England. So that was a definite pinch me moment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Desert Island Tricks. Now today's guest will be probably best known for some of his incredible creations and some of his trailers as well, which are always fun. So we're talking about tricks like trick photography, Visions from Vegas, the Casino Con, Book to the Future, the GPS deck, the Amnesia deck, Together Forever, the Flight deck, and his most recent one, which is Famous 5. Now, he's even performed and lectured at the Magic Circle and the Magic Castle in Hollywood more than once. So, you know, he knows what he's on about, which means this list is going to be really interested. He also performs magic with his children in family stage acts, which I think sounds super cute. And of course, he does bill himself as the happiest magician on the planet, which I think it's very accurate. I'm very, very pleased to have him here. Please welcome the wonderful Steve Gore. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
Very good now that you're here, Steve. So, in terms of your lists, like your tricks, you've released so many tricks over the years, and they are so practical. You can tell that they're from a working repertoire. You can tell that they're things that you use day in, day out. So, in terms of putting your list together, did you find it difficult to either choose things that were yours or other people's, or are they all workers? Are they from stage, close up? How did you go about making your list?
There's a mixture. So I was really trying not to put all my stuff in the list and try and include other stuff as well. Some of the other stuff I've done fairly recently as well is I've taken classics of magic and I've sort of developed them on and sort of put a twist in them. So they started off as a classic, so some of those are in my list as well.
Okay, and do you tend to go more towards, like, not that I'm trying to second guess your list, all right? I'm not trying to get a sneak peek. Do you tend to go for like close-up performances or stage? Because it says that you've performed and lectured at the Magic Circle and the Magic Castle, which are generally sort of parlour-y arenas for the most part. So do you tend to go towards more close-up or stage parlour?
I prefer both. The bulk of work does tend to be close-up. I do some children's family shows as well, but I also do some cabaret shows for adults. I had one last night, which was very good. So yeah, I like to do a mix.
Okay, so I'm very excited to see what your list is going to be. So without telling us which ones they are, just so that we can play Steve Gore Bingo, which we haven't done for a little while. How many of your own tricks are on your list? Don't tell us where they are or what they are.
I think 4.
Okay, so if you're playing Steve Gore Bingo, I want you to think right now, which of Steve's tricks do you think he's put in? Which 4 do you think he snuck in there? And we'll see whether we're right at the very end. But if you are listening to this for the first time, the idea is that we're about to maroon Steve on his very own desert island. When he's there, he's allowed to take 8 tricks, banish 1 thing, take 1 book and 1 non-magic item that he uses for magic particulars. Who's there? What's there? All of that good stuff. We do not mind. It's in Steve's own imagination. So, Steve, let's go to your island. Everyone's playing Steve Gore Bingo right now, so let's find out what you put in position 1.
And I'll just put some sun lotion on just while I'm on the island. In number 1 slot, I have the classic, that is the Invisible deck. Recently, in part of my Famous 5 collection, I also updated this, so I do a twin Invisible deck in my sort of normal close-up routine. They'll start with a red and a blue invisible deck, and I give them the choice. And then they select a card. And then they turn their card face up and put it in the other coloured pack, if you like. face down, so that I then throw the cards, and then I have a box appearance which appears around the cards. So they throw the cards, and then instantly the box appears around the cards. I then remove the blue pack of cards, and there's only one red back card, which is their sort of named card.
Okay, so is this the way that you've always performed Invisible Deck? Because earlier today, I actually had another podcast recording with another guest who will remain nameless, and he also said Invisible Deck, but he had kind of a unique way that he performs it because of sort of evolution in his performance. So have you always performed it this way, and is this the way that you would always perform it going forward?
Yes, I always perform it. I've done it like this for the last 10, 15 years. So it's part of my A set, pretty much, definitely every gig I'll do it a number of times, exactly like this.
Amazing. Well, I think that's a heavy hitter in at number one. So let's go to number two. What's in your second spot?
In number two, I have the Gypsy Thread, which is a stage routine, sometimes done as a gypsy balloon as well. So I always do this in all my family children's shows, usually just as the Gypsy Thread. But I've also started doing it in close-up as well. So it's just a handy thing just to have a little bobbin of cotton in your pocket. It's just something very visual, right in front of the eyes. You can do it right in front of the nose, and even let them sort of open and get hold of the ends of the thread themselves. And where the Gypsy Thread, you start with a piece of cotton thread, and you snap it into different pieces, and then you just roll it up, attach the ball of pieces onto one of the strands of thread, and then it restores to one continuing piece of thread.
Well, I think that's a great choice. Now, there are several sort of handlings for this. I know Eugene Berger has one. I know that Ben Hart has a really interesting version with a super-duper long piece of thread. I know that Faye Presto also has a version which I think was based on Eugene Berger's. So which version of the Gypsy Thread do you use?
I think it's Eugene Berger's from memory. Because I've done it for quite a while, I kind of forget where I first, because it's one of those classics, and I used to perform it one way, and then I've twisted it the last few years to a different setup without going into methods, which I think is better. And like I say, on stage, I have some sort of UV, I think it's Ted Outerbridge UV thread, so it's nice and visual, pops under lighting. And then just some Javi Benitez close-ups, some nice little simple white thread for close-up.
Amazing. And you bill yourself as the happiest magician. So I'm guessing you're not going for like a spooky version of this, because I know, in Spirit Theatre, I think where this is taught in Eugene Berger's book, it airs towards the spooky, and a lot of people do it in a kind of spookier way. How do you present it that works with your persona?
Just for the nice smile on my face. Yeah, so it's not spooky in any way. It's just just nice and visual. And what I've started doing in the close-up version, if I do it for like a wedding, specifically, I've got the bride and groom there. I break the pieces into. I usually have break into 5 pieces on each of their hands. I'll lay 2 of them as like a kiss, like a cross on their hands. So then I take the 2 crosses from each person and then roll it together, put it onto the 5th piece, give them the ends, and then they open it up.
So it's almost like a romance trick with you.
It is. That's me, Mr. Smoother.
Well, I think that's a great one. And it's one that I wouldn't have necessarily put in with you as well, with your list. So I think it's a really, really good one. So let's find out where this leads you to with number 3.
Number 3 is a regular deck of cards. I perform ambitious card routine. For listeners, it's where a selected card is freely selected, signed, and then it repeatedly goes into the middle of the pack or wherever and jumps up to the top. I've also changed that slightly with my Famous 5 collection, where I have a pop-up card. So they shuffle the cards, and then the top card hinges up, and then at the Jack of Spades, I think that 3D character leaps out of the top card, and he's holding a message which you can have whichever message on there, but I have unfortunately not. So I say, is it possible your card is now on the top? To say no or yes, and I lift up the card, a little jack pops up and it says unfortunately not. It adds a nice little comedy moment into the ambitious card routine.
Amazing. Now, regular listeners know what's about to happen. We did just mention a deck of cards. Now, you have just mentioned an ambitious card routine, but devil's advocate always comes out when a deck of cards has just been put up. So if I could only let you perform one trick with your deck of cards for the rest of your days on this island, what is the one routine you would perform?
Ambitious card, without a doubt. Every time. Just the reactions you get from everybody. It kind of shows that you've got some skills as a magician. But yeah, just the reactions, because this is one that I will always open with pretty much every group close up. And you just can't beat it because it's just multiple hit after hit after hit.
Well, I think that sounds great, and I think your version sounds super, super fun as well. So we've got 2 card tricks, and we've got the Gypsy Thread. So let's see where we go with number 4. What's in your 4th spot?
Number 4 is the floating table. Losander's floating table, the original. So I've done this in my family shows. I do it every time. It's always my closer. I always close with the Gypsy Thread straight into the floated table to one piece of music. Just very visual, just magical. Don't think there's anything that sort of comes close.
So is this something that you do in all of your stand-up shows? So is this something that you would necessarily do with a kid? How do you perform it on stage?
If there's a family, I do usually pick a young child to perform it with. But last night I had a cabaret show for 100% adults, so I just had a lady help me, so whichever. So yeah, it does always work very well.
And you say that you always do it to just music?
I do, yes. Never thought of doing it to patter, but I usually have a Coldplay track. Oh, and it's talking about a flock of birds flying high, and it's just a nice visual with the table lifting.
So do you get them to write something and put it into the gravity box? Is that your presentation?
No, I usually have a small gift in the box, like a lollipop or some sweets or a little flower if it's a lady or something. And I have my Gypsy Thread in the box as well to start with. So I take the thread out of the box, put it back in, and then float the table. And I get the assistant up. And something I've started doing this last couple of years is I get the person to float the table themselves. So instead of just both doing it together, they float it, I let go, I give them the gift out of the box, and then they let go and I carry on.
Wow, that's really nice. I love the idea of almost normalising the table with your Gypsy Thread in it beforehand. Yeah. I think that's really smart. It's a nice way to just make it feel like it's just a normal prop table.
Yeah, if anybody does it, I always recommend using the table as your normal table as well. Have other props on it, use it throughout your routine, and then use it just to finish.
Amazing. Well, I think that's another great one. We have a good mix of sort of close-up and stage things here. And I guess Gypsy Thread would be parlour as well. So I'm really interested to see where this goes with number 5. What did you put in your 5th spot?
Number 5 is one of mine, Together Forever. So that is where 2 signed cards are joined together as one. So it's traditionally it was the Anniversary Waltz, but I've changed it so that instead of the cards just being back to back, mine are staggered, misaligned, so like one card juts away on an angle from the other one. So I performed this at the Magic Castle. I performed it for David Copperfield and Chris Kenner, for David Blaine and his girlfriend, and Patrick Stewart and his wife as well. So that was a highlight. Being in the bar of the Magic Castle, I was performing it for David Blaine and his girlfriend. And then he said, "Oh, you've got to do that again." So it drew a crowd around me in the castle, one of which was Patrick Stewart. You got to watch this guy from England. So that was a definite pinch me moment. Until I created it, I'd not actually even done an Anniversary Waltz. I was familiar with the effect. And I just had a dream one night and I just visualized 2 cards being joined together but misaligned and staggered, and just sort of developed a routine from there. If it's a wedding, I'll do it. It's a perfect trick for a bride and groom. But if there's members of the families or if there's boyfriend girlfriends, For the sisters, you could do it as like a family thing that you've got a strong connection. You could even do it as if you've just got one person, you could say who's your celebrity crush, and you can like use it to manifest it into the universe.
Hello guys, I'm here to talk to you about Alakazam Unlimited. This is the best streaming platform in the world, I'm telling you now. With Alakazam Unlimited, you get access to over 150 magic routines. This is video performances and explanations. We have card magic, coin magic, kids magic, rope magic, mentalism, stage, parlor, impromptu. We've got you covered. All of this for the low price of just £4.99 a month. And you can cancel at any time. Perfect if you've got commitment issues. Yes, I'm talking to you. Guys, you are going to absolutely love it. If you haven't joined the platform already, what the heck are you doing? Alakazam Unlimited is a streaming platform that you need to be a part of. Not only that, there is also exclusive content only available on the platform. Check it out now, alakazam.co.uk. Cheers.
Great. Well, I think that sounds great. That's not one that I've seen yet either, so I'm going to have to seek that one out because I think it sounds superb. I'm a big fan of Anniversary Waltz effects, and yeah, that one just sounds phenomenal. Let's go to number 6 then. So what's in your 6th spot?
In the 6th spot is the Rubik's Cube. Axel Hecklau's Easy Cube is the one I do, but there are lots of other various ones of a similar method out there. But that's personally the one that I use. Do it in, again, all my family shows. I did it last night for the cabaret show. And I do it close up as well. So it's one of those ones which I'll have in my case. I'll do my usual set. And then when I'm going around again for the second time, I'll bring the bag out and do the Rubik's Cube, various groups, my favourite groups. a Rubik's Cube is in a little paper bag. Give it out to be mixed up. You then say there's a world record of about 3 seconds. Some people can do it blindfold or with one hand as well. So I put the cube into the bag. A couple of seconds, I remove the cube and it's solved. And then I pass that back out. And then I say, oh, by the way, also in the bag I have a spare. I've got a spare cube. So it's a bit of a joke that I've just got 2 cubes in there. But I then say, instead of solving this one, which you've mixed, I will turn the solved cube so it matches the same pattern that you've mixed. I do that. Obviously, the match on all 6 sides. I then put one cube away, put the other one back into the bag. And so they see that the bag's empty. Put the mixed up cube in, click the fingers, and then the solved cube comes out. There's another option of Michael Murray's spectator solves behind the back as well. I do sometimes.
Now, why did you go for Axel Hecklau's version over the others? What was it about his that got you hooked?
I don't know. I think it was just that was the one that came up in my social media feed. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's really good. So I bought that and then sort of found out there were other ones as well. But I'm quite happy with the one that I've got.
Yeah, Axel Hecklau's stuff is incredible. And, Easy Cube is super smart. And how does it differ close-up versus stage?
No different. I perform it exactly the same. Even if I did the Michael Murray behind the back, I'd do that in close-up and in stage as well.
Great. That leads us to the tail end of your 8. So far we've had Invisible Deck, Gypsy Thread, a deck of cards, Floating Table, Together Forever, and Easy Cube. So we're on to number 7. What's in your 7th spot?
So in 7th spot is one of my famous 5 collection. So it's Anything to Anywhere. So it links in slightly with the regular deck and the ambitious card routine. For the finale, I'm wearing a VIP lanyard around my neck. So the signed card appears inside the lanyard around my neck. So that's what I always do in close-up. But Anything to Anywhere, it's any small object at any impossible location. So when I'm doing stage stand-up, I'll usually do like a signed bill, and I'll destroy it either with fire or with a shredder, and then it appears inside a balloon that's been on stage the whole time. So it's just a nice way of getting any small object at any impossible location.
So if I held you to one way to perform this, so you're only allowed to do this one way, talk me through the routine that you would use.
I do it mostly just because it's in my close-up set number of times. I'll do it with my lanyard. But every time I'm on stage, and I've done this for the last 20 years with the signed build to balloon. So it's a bit of a tough call.
I'm guessing the lanyard would be great for sort of corporate things and walk around things. How often do you get people just ask you what the lanyard's about?
Yeah, it's a good conversation starter. It's good for corporate because when I've done it at trade shows, you need to use a special lanyard. You can use the normal trade show corporate lanyard that you get given. And you can have your own advertising details on it. You can have your own QR code or your website, so you can publicize various things about your show on a lanyard that you're wearing the whole time, and it gets people saying, "Oh, what's?" It says that you do trade shows on there. What's that about? So,
well, I think that one sounds super interesting as well. And with that one, what are the parameters with that?
It's like a small envelope. So whatever I have, like if it's a bill or a card or anything, it goes into a small envelope, and then that envelope is somewhere else. So it could be in a lanyard, it could be in a balloon, it could be in your shoe. You could mail it to a client. So just a small. It's usually, if it's a playing card, I usually have it folded into 4. So anything small. So anywhere you could put that, you could put it into some fruit, you could put it anywhere.
Amazing. I think that sounds phenomenal. That sounds really, really cool. So we've got one more left, and there was one trick that I was hoping was going to be in there when we were playing Steve Gore Bingo, and I was hoping that was going to be Casino Con, because that's such a favourite at Alakazam. We are huge, huge fans of it. It's such a wonderful, wonderful trick. So it may be in there. It may not be. Let's find out. What did you put in your final position?
Well, Casino Con I actually have in my honourable mentions. But yes, number 8, I have one that's not mine, linking rings. I usually do a standard 3 ring routine. It also looks really magical with the floating linking rings. Victor Voitko's floating rings, I think they're really magical, perfect on stage. But yeah, a standard 3 ring set is what I use. I've also done it as like a comedy routine. So I did the Northern Magic Circle competition a good few years ago and won first place comedy, the Originality Cup as well. I think it was about the first act in 50 years to win all 4 awards. And that was like a comedy routine I did with myself, and I had an assistant called Debbie Magoo, which was originally a gentleman called Steve Naylor played him, and then he sort of stepped aside, and Stevie B, I don't know if you know Stevie B, he's a magician from Ilkley, he took over the role of Debbie Magoo. So we did it to James Bond tune, You Only Link Twice. And it was a comedy routine. We started doing like bowing to each other, and then Debbie could not link or unlink her rings, but I could always, and it was just a nice visual comedy moment. And then Debbie got the magnifying glass out to try and find where the hole was in the linking ring, and then the magnifying glass got linked onto the ring.
That sounds great. Let's first talk about the linking rings themselves. So I'm presuming because it's for stage, you're using the full-size rings.
Yes. I do have a small, tiny set, like the Shooter-Gower little ninja rings, but on stage, yeah, it's usually the big ones. I'm guessing they're about 12 inches or something.
How do you even come up with the concept of James Bond and Debbie Magoo?
I think we were just trying to think out of the box and what was funny. We sort of, me and Steve Naylor, who created the act originally, sort of just brainstormed various ideas, and that popped up. Usually now it's just straight up, just a classic 3 ring routine. I usually open my family shows with a track, Michael Bublé, and there's various things. There's ropes, there's rings, there's silks. Sort of, there's one sort of opening routine.
Going forward, do you reckon that you'll ever bring back Debbie Magoo and perform that routine?
I never say never.
Which also sounds like a Bond film, doesn't it? There you go.
It does.
So we've got a great list there. We started with Invisible Deck, to Gypsy Thread, to a deck of cards, a floating table, Together Forever, Easy Cube, Anything to Anywhere, and Linking Rings. A really interesting list. But you did say that you had some honourable mentions. So let's find out. We haven't had honourable mentions for a while, so it's exciting to hear what you would have put in.
Okay, so starting off with my very first trick I created, which was on the case, which was through Mark Mason of JB Magic. So that was my first one, which was probably about 25 years ago, I'm guessing, which was like a glasses case with eye charts, letters on it. And then the card was selected, and then the glasses case turned into a visual prediction of what the card was. Next on my honourable mentions, we have Casino Con, obviously, with Alakazam. Yeah, it's just a really good pocket trick. Nice casino-themed jokers and gambling, and it's a nice 3-stage routine.
Well, let's talk about those two very quickly.
Yeah.
So I remember this. I did just tell you about the method, and the method for it was so clever. I remember seeing it and thinking it was great because there was no, and again, we're not giving method away here, but we're sort of excluding it. But there was no need to switch the glasses case. There was nothing that sort of slid in and out. You didn't have to steal anything away. It was such a clever method.
Yeah. My wife is an optician, so where she was working, these glasses cases came into the shop, which were like colour-changing glasses cases. And I thought, oh, that's an interesting concept. And the receptionist said, oh, you must be able to do something with this. So I thought, oh, yes. So I got the glasses cases not to change colour, but instead have this prediction reveal instead.
Yeah, it's so clever. Is it still manufactured?
It is. Mark Mason has given me permission to make my own now, so I do still sell them myself.
Well, if you haven't seen that, please do go check it out because it's super clever. And let's talk about Casino Con.
Yes.
So Casino Con is one of our favourites at Alakazam, and I remember seeing it for the first time. It would have been, I think, beginning of last year that I would have seen it, and it's just such a clever method. It's so clever. It's sneaky as, like, so sneaky.
I should be the sneakiest magician instead of the happiest.
Yeah, I that's it. From now on, Steve Gore, the sneakiest magician. That's it. We've done it here. I think it's just such a clever routine. And the way that everything flows and works, and, you know, to have Greg Wilson, of all people, on as a name on it because he enjoyed it so much and liked it so much. That's such a big accolade. Yeah,
originally, I brought it out with Greg and a company called System 6 originally, and then that sort of disappeared into the wind, and Harry Nardi said, I really love this effect, you know, can we bring it out? Can we do it properly? So, the artwork's fantastic with Alakazam. And I like how it fits in with a couple of your other effects as well, the jokers and the another one that the name escapes me. But
What Happens in Vegas?
That's the one. It's the same artwork, so you can do a full routine.
Yeah, it's such a great trick. So we've got 2 tricks here in our honourable mentions, but I think there's more. So what's in the third? What's in the third honourable mention?
The GPS deck and the flight deck. It's a regular deck of cards. It can be thoroughly examined, shuffled, and you know in an instant where any card is in the deck without having to spread through. Just by holding them in your hand, you can locate any playing card.
Okay, let's move on to the next honourable mention then. It feels like we're going to have another list of 8 at this stage.
I had the Amnesia deck, which is for years I kept seeing magicians lecture and saying, "Oh, you can do this with this memorized deck," and I was like, "Oh, one of these days I'll sit down and memorize a deck." And the years rolled by, and I just never got a chance to sit down. So instead, I spent several months designing a deck of cards that would do it for me. When I could have just memorized a deck, but I've now made it easy for everybody else to. You could have the deck of cards and you can perform memorized deck routines with the Amnesia deck.
Lots of people wish they could do memorized deck tricks, and some people just for some reason cannot connect with memorizing a deck. I don't think it's a comment on anyone in particular. I think it's just a skill set that you either have or you don't. So the idea of having a deck which functions the same as a memorized deck, but you don't have to worry about that aspect, I think sounds superb.
I'd say I created this deck, and then afterwards, years down the line, I was doing a different routine, and then I just made my own memorized deck stack up using the sort of pattern that I had on Amnesia deck, because I found, so maybe it's easier for listeners if they're wanting to get into it to try and think of their own stack, make it something that they can personally remember. So I had it so that I only needed to remember, they were in like groups of 4, if you can picture like a grid pattern. So I had, like say, the number 6 in position 1, position 6, position 26 and 46, so you only need to remember, you make it how you want your own stack. But if it's birthdays, or try and get things that you can memorize yourself easily, that you'll just know without thinking, and try and link playing cards to those positions.
Okay, well, that sounds fantastic. Any more honourable mentions?
One last one, which is Book to the Future. And its previous version was Visions from Vegas. So it's the same routine. I just streamlined it with Book to the Future. So it's a book test, but instead of reading somebody's mind, you're predicting which words they're going to pick in the future. So they examine the book. You have like a practice run, so they can see that all the words are different each time they perform it. But then you write down on your pad or your business card 3 or 4 words, and then they pick them and it matches.
Well, I think that also sounds superb. And I think you're one of the only guests that has quite literally given 2 entire lists. So that's sneaky. But they were only honourable mentions, guys. They're not the real list. But we do have 3 more things. So obviously you had 8 tricks, in your case 16. But we do have one each of these. So I want you to imagine, Steve, that you are about to dig a big sandy hole and you're going to throw something in there to banish forever. What are you going to banish?
There's certain cheesy type tricks that I just don't like. For example, the 20th century bra, where it's just a bit corny, taking a bra out of a female spectator and having a silk appear. It's not for me.
No, I also think that there may have been a time in history where things like that were acceptable, but certainly time has moved on now. We have evolved. Yeah. We know that tricks like that are not really appropriate. And I think, was there not a version where it was underwear as well? You used to tuck it in the trousers, and then when they were pulled, some underwear came out as well. Yeah.
It possibly would be appropriate for Debbie Magoo, my assistant. Yeah.
There you go. You see?
Thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not tacky, but...
And the fact that I think you said Debbie Magoo was played by someone without a certain kind of body.
Yes.
So I think it may not be as bad that way as well.
Debbie Magoo had a big curly wig and a big green tutu dress.
Well, I think that's great. It's a perfect choice. Would you put any other cheesy tricks in there, or is it just that one?
I did have vanishing bandana. Just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, we've had vanishing bandana banished before, I think, on the
vanishing bandana.
Yeah, I think someone, I can't remember who had it, forgive me, but I remember them saying that it was karaoke magic. The idea that it's sort of pre-written and you're just going through the motion. It's not necessarily the most original thing. So, okay, we've got them. All cheesy tricks are now, unless your name is Debbie Magoo, are now in the sandpit. They are gone forever. So we've got 2 more things. Let's go on to your book. So obviously you're only allowed to take 1 book. What book did you take with you?
I've got a choice of books. I'm not a big book reader, to be honest. I'm not a massive... I just don't comfortably read books normally. I much rather sort of watch things, but that's just my personal thing. But some books I have enjoyed reading, Happy by Darren Brown, which isn't a magic book. It's just, obviously I'm the happiest magician. It's rather fitting that I read the book Happy. Just putting a different perspective on life and realizing that there's certain things that you can't change in life. So just don't worry about them. That's the sort of big takeaway from that book I got. Another, if I can have an honourable mention in the books, is Maximum Entertainment by Ken Webber. Not a trick book, but more just teaching you how to get the best out of performing. And the last one I had was Nate Staniforth. He had a book called Here Is Real Magic. So I enjoyed that one as well.
Okay, so we've got Happy, we've got Maximum Entertainment,
2.0.
Real Magic as well. So if we're going to hold you just to one, you're only allowed to take one. Which one are you going to take?
I'll take Happy.
You're going to take Happy.
I'll take Happy.
Absolutely. It's a great choice. I'm not sure if we've had it on the podcast, but Happy is one that I also read. And I think what was interesting was several years ago, Theory 11 had the launch of his deck. And as part of that, there was a limited edition box set. And part of that was you were taken on an online treasure hunt, which we spoke about in Darren's episode. So do go back, listen to Darren's episode because we speak about that. And in there, there was an online Stoic shop. So it looked like a real bookshop, but it was all about Stoicism. And ever since then, I've been really interested in sort of the Stoic thinking. And Darren's Happy, and there's also another version which is a little bit Happy, I think it's called, which is like bite-sized chunks of that, so it's a bit more digestible. It was all about Stoicism and all about, you can only control what you're in control of, effectively, going forward. Now, how easily have you found that to put into your working set and your life in general?
Quite easy, because I'm not a warrior type of person. I always can distance myself from. And when I was reading, I was just like, that's how it should be. If you can't change things, then why not spend your life worrying about them? So it's the type of person I am. Fortunately.
Amazing. Well, that is going with you. Happy is going with you. Now we've got one more thing, which is your non-magic item. What did you put in this position?
Can I have two? Maybe.
Well, how about we do what we've done all the way through? We get you to say both, and then we'll get you to one of them. Okay.
Well, one is USB cables, because I brought out a trick just like Alakazam have with USB cables. So mine's called Supercharged. Yours is, remind me?
It is Nightmare Recharge.
Yes. So again, it's one that I've performed a very long time with ropes, and then last few years with USB cables, because it's just something that people handle every single day of their life. It's not a magic prop to them. But then you can do the unequal ropes or various other rope routines with it.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. And, it is one that several people have played with this plot now, it turns out. But it makes so much sense because it's such an organic prop. It's such a clever idea and a clever concept to take something that's, maybe ropes aren't for everyone. I think we've had people on the podcast actually say they're not a fan of rope tricks. So... I mean, Professor's Nightmare is such an incredible, incredible trick. To lose it to history because, ropes are not in popular favour now, it makes absolute sense to do it with these cables. So the fact that several people have had this idea does not surprise me at all because it is a phenomenal idea.
I always did, many years ago, I did the unequal ropes as part of my family shows. And then I started doing it in my close-up. I think I was at a gig and I thought, what else can I do now? I have some extra time, and I got the ropes out. And I was surprised that the adults were reacting to it even more than the children. And I thought, I'm onto something here. So that's when I switched to cables, I say, a few years ago. I just do it now. Yeah, it's in my A set. It's part of the Famous Five. It's one that I'll do numerous times every single gig.
Yeah, it's just a phenomenal trick, but we're not sure if that's what you've put in your item. We don't know if you put USB cables in there yet, because you did say there's a second potential one. So what was your second potential?
It's by Steve Gore, and it's sweet pens. So it's a Sharpie pen disguised as a pack of sweets. So I have it as Mentos because I have so it's 3D printed by Steve, so it feels like a tube of Mentos. You can feel all the ridges of all the mints in the tube. And then you say, I've got a magic pen, can you just sign your name on the card? And you sort of gesture. And then they pick up this pack of sweets and they're signing the name, but nothing's happening. And then you look back, you need to take the cap off the pen. It's just so funny. And then I say, we now have a memento of the occasion, because the Mentos. And then I pop that away, and then halfway through my ambitious card routine, I'll get the other person, if there's a couple, and say, do you want to sign your name on the card as well? And then I'll grab a real pack of Mentos, hand it out, and then they're trying to take the cap off the pack of Mentos, and they say, sorry, that is my pack of mints, put it away.
That's great. I love his pens. It's a great idea. Now, you have just picked two, USB cables or sweet pens. I'm going to hold you to it. Which one do you want to take?
I'd have to take the cables, because at least I could charge my phone on the island as well.
Okay, great. So we are going to take USB cables. We've had other guests take cables and phones, and we've been very kind to give them a little solar panel or a solar recharge panel. So we'll give that to you as well.
Thank you.
You can take that with you. But that's a great list. We started with a visible deck, Gypsy Thread, a deck of cards, but to do ambitious card, floating table, together forever, easy cube, anything to anywhere, linking rings. Your banishment is cheesy tricks. Your book is happy, and your item is USB cable. And of course, we've added many honorable mentions, but I think that is a great list, Steve. If people want to find out more about you, your creations, all of that good stuff, do you lecture, all of that good stuff, where can they go to?
My website is happiestmagician.com, of course. I have Instagram and Facebook at Happiest Magician. And yeah, I've got an online shop, which isn't sort of for normal public. It's not part of my main website, which is shop.stevegore.co.uk. So that's where most of my products are for sale.
Amazing. And do you lecture at all, Steve?
I do, yes. I usually do quite a few lectures each year. And
where can people go if they want to find out about your lecture or to book you?
Just contact me through my website. My phone number, there's a contact form on there. Or if you just Google my name, you'll find my phone number, I'm sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you again, Steve. It's great to finally have got you on here. And thank you all for listening. Don't forget, we will be back next week with another episode. Do go check out Steve's tricks. There are some phenomenal tricks there. There's one or two there that I haven't heard of, so I'm definitely going to go and check those out now. Of course, we're going to be back next week with another episode. But until then, thank you for listening. Have a great week. Goodbye.
When I perform at gigs, I look at effects that tick these three boxes. Is it super strong and powerful? Yes. Will it last with your spectators for a lifetime? Absolutely. And does it leave them with a souvenir that perfectly captures the moment of magic? If that all sounds exactly what you're after, look no further than the liquid forks. These forks have been custom designed to be able to bend right in front of your spectators' eyes. It's so easy to perform, it's so visual, and trust me, they will honestly keep this impossible object because they've seen it morph in front of their eyes. It literally does the impossible. Not only that, Liquid Forks comes with 50 of these forks in each pack, and it comes with the full Liquid Forks routine taught by the world famous David Penn. Not only that, we have a subscription service. If you guys love these forks and you get through them at your gigs, we now offer a monthly subscription where you get sent a box through every single month at a 10% reduced fee. Like I said, you guys are going to be loving these. You're going to be performing them every chance you can. Trust me, the reactions are second to none. So guys, head over to alakazam.co.uk, pick up a set of liquid forks. You will not regret it. Easy to do. Leaves them with a killer souvenir. And to be honest with you, it's not cards, it's not coins, it's not mentalism. It's something beyond belief. Check it out now, guys, the liquid forks.